So when I make a turkey, I stuff it with vegetables. And I like to use an apple, 2 small onions, or 1 large if I have a large onion instead, 3 carrots, and 3 stalks of celery. So I will rinse off the turkey and get it ready in the pan, and then I will clean and chop up these veggies. So let's see. I'm messy. Goodness. Yes, just move the camera, why don't you, little one? So, with the little one run around. So I have taken my turkey out of the packaging and cleaned him. And now I'm going to chop my vegetables. And the story is how the Halloween tradition became turkey in my household. So 9 years ago, or some years ago, either way, I had a emergency cesarean section with my 4th child. And so that had happened in August. And then we had, my husband and I had been buying a larger house because this was our 4th child. And the house did not get completed before the baby was born as we had hoped. And so we did not get they didn't secure the certificate of occupancy until almost September. And we didn't finally finish our closing and get the keys to the home until October the 18th. And so I'm chopping the carrots up in large chunks. They don't have to be small because I use them just inside the turkey itself as aromatics. So I same thing with the celery and the onions and the apple. None of them have to be, they don't have to be finely diced. They're just chopped large, in large chunks. So back to the story. We had just closed on our house on October the 18th, and we moved that day. So we had just moved into the house 8 days, 9 days prior, so a little over a week before Halloween. I had 3 children that were small, in age from, well, I had a 16-year-old, but my 16-year-old, my oldest, had autism, so he still very much so enjoyed trick-or-treating. So I had a 16-year-old, a 12-year-old.
We're going trick-or-treating in 22 minutes!
No, sir, in 2 hours.
2 hours? Yeah. 2 hours,
Yes.
22 minutes.
Okay.
Making those.
So, yes, I am. So I had a 4-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 16-year-old. So,
And a 9-year-old.
no, that I have a 9-year-old now. I'm talking about I had just had you, and a 7-week-old. And it was Halloween, and I had a cesarean section. So I was just at the point where I was, say, able to drive. I wasn't even 8 weeks postpartum. So my postpartum period was not over yet. And it was Halloween, and we had moved houses. So I had been trying to get my home situated. Yes. Oh,
I'm following you.
Hold on over here. Yeah, sit down. I ain't worried about that. It's okay. Go ahead. So, needless to say, I was not in the best of health or in the best of conditions. So, I was trying to figure out what to do. So my assumption was, my husband works evenings, second shift. So he doesn't get home until 10 o'clock at night. So there was no way that he could take the kids trick-or-treating. So I had to figure out how to get this done in a way that wasn't going to be completely detrimental to my health. So I'm going to be walking around with the older kids, trick-or-treating, carrying the baby. And so I figured I also have to feed everyone this day. And so I decided that the answer would be to cook a turkey. Because if I cooked a turkey, it's a large enough meal that there will be leftovers for a couple of days. And so when I get back home, after this, what I consider to be a little bit of overexertion of an evening, then I wouldn't have to cook for the next few days. I would be okay. So I made a turkey. And afterwards, it just kind of stuck. I started the turkey to baking. I had already made the sides, and I started the turkey to baking before we left to go trick-or-treating. And by the time we got back home, the turkey was ready to come out of the oven, and we could eat. And then we could quickly go to bed, and everything would be done, and I wouldn't have to worry about a lot of cleanup or anything like that. I had the house ready before we left, as far as that was concerned. And so from there, it became a tradition.
Oh, yeah.
Turkeys for Halloween. And it's kind of like kicking off the fall season. Now, my family loves turkey. I'm just going to say that now. It's a spot on the apple. I'm taking it off. I have several children who prefer turkey to ham. Very much so. So, the turkey is definitely a winner in my household. So, it was an easy choice. And whenever, in years coming, whenever I've had a turkey cooking, and say my husband was home and he was passing out the candy while I was out with the younger children, he would be at home with the older kids passing out candy, and I was out with the younger children taking them trick-or-treating. As he answered the door, people have asked over the years, the kids are trick-or-treating, it's fine, but moms and dads are going, "What are you cooking? What is that smell?"
Us kids are fine with it as long as you get candy. We don't care about the smell. We just...
Okay, so all of my aromatics are chopped, and I have my bird here. So now I go to seasoning my bird. First, I'm going to flip him over, my tom turkey, and season his back, and then I will lean him up and season inside, and then I will stuff him with the aromatics, and then I will lay him and season him at the top. For seasoning, like a combination of salt, black pepper, thyme, and garlic powder. So, let's flip him over. I'll edit this out. It ain't no big.
Oh.
Just, he got crunchy, he got a bunch of hair on that little tip of skin there. Now, I typically like that skin just because it's nice, but I don't want it just got hair on it.
Why don't you have
No. Because I don't want to eat turkey hair. I like turkey, I don't want turkey hair. Now I season liberally. This is a large piece of meat. This turkey is 23 pounds, I think. I'll put it somewhere specifically. Not sure exactly how many pounds, but I season liberally. Lots. And don't forget to get under the wings. I'm very good with the salt. I go a little lighter on the black pepper. I'm definitely lighter on the garlic because garlic will scorch or burn, especially at high temperatures over long periods of time. I go even lighter on it on the top. I do more internally with the garlic. I'll actually pull out my fresh garlic to go inside the bird. I'll let the wing tips pin this little piece of skin down. My family likes a nice crunchy piece of skin. There we go. That's the bottom. So now I tip him up. I do keep the tail piece on. My grandmother's always loved it, so I keep it on. And then I get ready to go internally. Now internally, I will sprinkle spices again. And with this part, I will also add in some fresh garlic. I'll lean him from side to side to make sure that I coat all around. And like I said, I'm pretty liberal with it. This is the part that I think flavors the bird all the way through. You know, no one wants just the skin to be tasty. You want to taste it, the seasoning in the meat. And again, like I said, he is 23, 24 pounds. So he's a big fella. It's a lot of meat. And of course the fresh garlic. And putting that in there also. I don't need too much, again, because I love the aromatics. And so then I start putting them in, a little of each, so that it's evenly distributed throughout. And I like the apple because it gives a nice sweetness to it. I don't like citrus in my turkey, so I don't put a lemon. I have been known to put lemons in my chicken, but I'm not big on them in my turkey. I really do prefer the apple. And I stuff him pretty full. As you can tell, there is no empty space here. He is fully stuffed. I do prefer using vegetables over bread stuffing. I think the bread stuffing can dry it out, especially with a bird this large. So if it was like a 12 to 15 pound bird, 16 pound bird, I wouldn't mind bread stuffing, but after that, I don't want to do it any longer just because of the cooking time. I think it would make it a little dry. I keep this piece of skin here together and use it to hold down these drumsticks. Now, as the turkey cooks, this skin is going to split, but for the start, it holds it down pretty well. And then I sit him in the pan as such. And then I even continue to stuff right here on top because it can hold it once it's laying like that and all pinned together. And I will continue to stuff the onions, celery, carrots, and apples. Now, I do have some left over here. I've been known to put a few of those in the bottom. And then I will also put a few of those in with the neck and giblets that I am cooking. So, a little of that around the bird. And so finally, it is time to season the top of the turkey. And once I get him seasoned on top, he'll be ready for the oven. So, a little black pepper. Now, I don't oil him or butter him. I leave him just like this. I have done butter before. I have done a butter and wine basting. I am making sure I get this tail stump seasoned as well. Again, very liberal with the salt. That truly is a matter of preference, whether or not you oil him down or butter him. But I find that I really don't need to. I don't have to baste either, and I don't cover. Now, here's the reason why I think that trick works. I cook him for the first 30 minutes at a balmy 425 degrees. I know that is really high, but I do. It allows the skin to crisp really quickly and start getting a little color, and it seals in the juices. And then after those first 30 minutes at 425, then I turn the turkey down to 325 and allow him cook for the remainder of the time. As far as cooking time, I don't time turkeys anymore. I kind of do. I know it takes somewhere between, it takes like 4.5 to 5.5 hours to cook a turkey this size. I usually buy one this size because this is the size that feeds my family the best. So I do between 4.5, 5.5 hours, typically around 5 hours. Starting with the 425 changes the cook time some, but at this point I've kind of gotten good at telling when the turkey is done or not. You would just check the thigh with your thermometer. I think here is a good place to hit it because you don't want to touch a bone. You want to get in the meaty, fleshy part of the thigh, and you check with a thermometer here, make sure your internal temperature is good. I don't tint him or cover him until I get him out, which I will show you later. Maybe.
Isn't your phone?
Yes, it's still on. Hey Google, set timer for 30 minutes. So, I've lowered the rack in my oven so that my turkey can sit comfortably with enough space from the top and the bottom. He's kind of in the middle there. And I've got him in there at 425 for the first 30 minutes of the cook time. And I'll check back after that. So, after 30 minutes, he just knocked it down. After 30 minutes, I changed the temperature down to 325. Sorry. This is what the turkey is looking like. Hey Google, dismiss. So this is what the turkey is. This is what the turkey is looking like. It does have a little color to the skin, but as you can see, it is just roasting along, and I leave it in here for the remainder of the time. So 4 hours and 15 minutes later, the turkey is looking pretty good, almost completely done by my mind's eye. I'm going to give it about 10 more minutes because this was a 22.5-pound bird, and then I'll pull it out. And when I get ready to slice it, I'll let you all see a slice of the breast.